Hi everyone, welcome back to Agents Unfiltered,
where we talk about the do's, the don'ts, and the what the fucks of real estate.
Make sure you follow us on social media. Currently, we are on Instagram, and our social media handle is Agents Unfiltered. So make sure you follow along because we're going to be posting sneak peeks, just fun content, and you're not going to want to miss it.
We also make TikToks.
Yeah, we do.
Mildly hilarious, maybe to us, maybe to you. We'll find out. So today we're going to talk about building your pipeline. There's so many things we can go over. Some that we use, some that we don't. We're going to touch on each of them in the way that we can. And
and give you kind of our feedback.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you guys something that happened this week.
Okay, bring it on.
Okay, so working with this client, and we are working on this kind of a unicorn of what they're looking for, right? We have, they want property, they want a well, which is really hard to find. They also want to be able to subdivide the property, right? And have, two families live there.
Yeah.
So I did so much research, thought I found them in the right place, called the county. The county says, yes, you can absorb half the road to
make up
for. So we're like at 19 and a half acres, right? We need to hit 20. You can absorb half the road. Okay, great. Sounds great. Whatever. We'll get that done. We talked to a few surveyors. One, and of course we're not getting surveys yet. They're just like telling them what they want to accomplish so we can figure this out. One says you're going to hit 23. I see this hitting 23 acres. Great. That's fucking amazing. We're going to get it done what we need to get done. They talk to two others and they say it may hit 18.9, which is less than what's even listed.
Oh my gosh.
Like what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
I have no idea where we're headed with this. We're
in case no one heard her, what the actual fuck?
Yes.
What goes through our brains?
It is. And I have never in all my years have dealt with something like this. So I don't know where it's going to end at this point.
How are different surveyors getting such different numbers? Is it because
5 acres?
How?
I don't know. And it's not even, they're saying it's not even what it's listed at with the road. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I don't think you guys haven't dealt with this.
Never.
I'm kind of going down this road too of like, where is this going to lead us? So frustrating for everyone involved. I'm glad they haven't spent $5,000 or $8,000 on a survey.
Yeah.
But what the hell?
You'll find your unicorn. Do you remember when I had a client looking for the same thing? They were looking for acreage that they could split or 2 lots adjoining. They had this huge list. We looked and looked and looked and nothing worked. And then literally like the most perfect thing.
It's true. It's true. It'll happen.
And you are a good enough agent that you'll figure it out. But that is insane.
Yeah. I've just never had a surveyor's, give such off the wall, like different measurements.
Yeah.
On the same property. And I'm very confused.
Was one of them like looking at a different map or did they actually go there or how does it?
They all did it online.
Okay.
Because we didn't order the survey yet.
Right.
They were just trying to be like, okay, can we
it.
hit this? And 2 of them said, no, we can't hit this. And one said, yes, absolutely.
Oh God.
So what does that mean?
As someone that hasn't dealt with that before, it's kind of, it's nice to know that before I have someone spend all this money on surveyors that you can have people kind of do side work where maybe you can't take it to court, but you can get an estimate of what it's going to be before you have someone actually survey it and spend $8,000 and take it to court.
Yes. And I think that's really helpful, especially like the connections.
Yes.
Like having a connection like that, I think is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I've never actually, your guy's the first guy I've ever dealt with like that.
Yeah.
Who's not an actual
he did
surveyor.
it?
No, he didn't do it because by that point we had already decided like, okay, I don't know about this. So I'm still waiting to hear back from him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, a day in the life.
Yeah.
But
a day in the freaking life.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of talking about our podcast and where we want to take it and talking about like, obviously we want to talk about relevant things, but it's kind of fun to include, snippets from our life. So one thing I would really like to add is Cassie had a major fuck up this week.
Oh my God.
I won't
go. You know this fuck up.
I do.
Have you looked into my eyes recently, friend?
No. I thought you meant real estate related. I didn't realize life related.
Life related real estate. Okay, so we'll get to the nitty gritty soon, but just a fun like factoid to like let you get to know Cassie. You'll get to know us all along the way, but this week
it's all Cassie.
She is the best mom, one of the best moms. She's one of those people where if she wants her kids to feel comfy, She'll do it herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Mhm.
And my son had to get eye drops 3 nights in a row to prepare for an eye appointment because he has eye drop anxiety, which is a thing.
I think we all have eye drop anxiety.
It's so true. So he won't do it in the doctor's office. So it's incognito in his sleep. I'm putting these eye drops in. And the third night, we were so close. He woke up and I was like, oh no. And
Wait, you didn't tell me this. You did it in his sleep?
no, yes. And
That's
the
the
third
only
night,
way.
he woke up.
I didn't know. I'm not a mom. I don't know.
Oh, you just kind of pry their eye and just drop it in the side and it rolls in and they're unbeknownst to them. The third night he woke up and was screaming and I was like, no, it's okay, honey. Mommy will show you. So I put a drop in my eye thinking, it's just an eye drop, right? No big deal. I woke up and one of my pupils was so huge and the other was normal human side. And it was early and I was tired. And I thought to myself, I'm going to put an eye drop in the other eye to even the score. So I have 2 giant pupils instead of 1 very small pupil and 1 very large pupil. So I did. And then within about 2 hours, 1 pupil went back to normal because I had done it the night before. And the other was humongous. And so I can't really see very well out of this eye still. It can take up to 7 days.
But how do you fix
or
it?
2 weeks.
But
Nothing.
also trust us with your real estate needs because we're really good decision makers.
Even when we're blind. Even when we're
Listen.
blind.
I can see out of this eye. And someone in the office asked me, and it really offended me. Not really. Are you blonde under that hair dye? And I was like,
But you are.
but I am. Spoiler
Not a
alert.
natural redhead.
My roots are blonde.
It's really 2 blondes and a brunette. Started a
I'm a redhead at heart, okay? I am a redhead at heart.
You know what?
With a really, really big pupil. It's fine.
The
We'll
week
post a
that we
picture.
dropped it, I would say the week that we dropped this podcast, she's got a beautiful picture. We'll just
It's
drop
so
it
good, you
on our
guys.
So great.
Instagram. You guys can go.
And
You'll
I
see
am
it for
not
yourself.
condoning this was a prescription eye drop and I did not really think about that when I put it into my eye, and that's a very dangerous choice.
Specifically the second one after.
I was really tired and I didn't want to look like a crazy person.
Our first disclaimer: do not do unprescribed eye drops.
Don't do it or you're gonna look crazy and you're gonna have vertigo because one eye's blurry and one eye's not. I considered wearing an eye patch today, so there's that.
Yeah.
So with that,
With that,
we're going to tell you the 9 best ways to build your pipeline.
yes,
So,
let's get into it.
okay, I'm going to start with
Yeah,
my
go for it.
favorite, my personal favorite.
Mhm.
I love open houses. I freaking love them. In the beginning, I thought they were boring and didn't understand them. And now that I know how to utilize them, they're my favorite thing in the entire world. So a couple of my past clients I've gained from doing an open house with a lender. And it was awesome because you can kind of just tag team each other. If you have a lender that you enjoy working with, have them come to your open houses. It'll make it 10 times better, because if someone's not looking for a realtor, they're looking for a lender. If someone already has a lender, they're probably looking for a realtor, and so you guys can build each other up without, having to talk about yourselves. There's someone else to do it for you. And I absolutely love it. So I'll just share a quick story. My last open house, there was VA buyers in, and they were talking about how they were working with an agent and they were kind of looking at things that they're on their own. And I was like, okay, so who are you using for your lender? And it was a big national person, which in Spokane where we're working, and I'm sure everywhere else, it's so important to work with a local lender. So even though they weren't going to be my client, I was able to talk up the lender that I was working with and being like, okay, she's great with VA. This is why you want a local person. This is how we can help you. This is why big names kind of fall through sometimes, and it's better to have a name that they know. And in the end, they ended up coming back to me saying, you know what? We didn't sign with the realtor that we were looking with, and that told us about the open house, but you were so straightforward with us and told us everything we needed to know that we love you and we want to use you. And now we're writing offers together. So it's just
good.
one of those things where you don't think it's going to happen, or, you don't want to step on toes, but it's a great situation where you guys can help each other out, and you're not being that cocky person, like, choose me, you can just
Yeah.
kind of like be
Yeah.
yourself. And if it falls in, it falls in.
Yeah.
And I think it can be really cool to partner with a lender. I mean, I think in this business, we all build relationships with lenders and title companies so that we know who we like, we know who we trust, we know who's going to take really good care of our clients. And one really cool thing that I've done this year is I have this lender that I really like. She does really good work. And she approached me at the beginning of the year and said, we should do a first-time homebuyers class.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I've used Cassie. I brought my buyers to
Which
her.
I love.
First home buyers class.
Yes. And so we open it up to whoever wants to come. It's totally free. And we share the process, we answer questions, and it's really cool having it come from the perspective of an agent and the perspective of a lender. And it's also a great way to fill your pipeline because you have people come that are thinking about buying and they get to hear you, get your expertise. They may already have an agent, but you're planting a seed, and it's a really cool way to build your pipeline, and it's really fun also. So
yeah. And I would say on both of those, really a lot of it is like utilize people and resources that are available to you. You know, utilize lenders, utilize title companies, utilize agents in your office. Like when agents who are established and they're like, hey, will you do this open house for me? A lot of agents don't want to do it because they feel like, it's not going to be viable.
They're not
for
getting
them.
the money from it.
They're not getting the money.
I'm not getting a percentage of the sale.
They're doing the work for you, for the other agent, right? But really, it is the best way to build your pipeline through open house. And they didn't used to be that great, but now it's like, it's such a great way to build to connection.
Yes.
And really that agent saying like, I trust you enough that I know you can do a good job at my open house, and you get to reap the benefits of whatever clients come in that don't have an agent or have an agent they don't really like, and then they want to work with you.
So hypothetical situation. So let's say this is an actual hypothetical, not just like a, this is like literal, because we have,
a little nervous.
We have both, right? We have both.
Situation.
It's not the Cat and the T-Rex show. But you think about, there's certain agents where they don't want to take open houses because in a sense they're like, okay, well, if the buyer comes from me and I'm the one that talked them into the house, and I don't get any of the proceeds, why is it worth it to me? Well, let me tell you why. You think if you're like a new agent within your first like 1 to 5 years, right? And you're looking for those $1 million listings, if you are working with someone who is at that capacity and they need someone to do their open house, you're literally bumping elbows with people that are in that bracket of buying power. Why would you not? Why would you not? Like
business plan wise, it's ridiculous not to. But it's amazing how hard it can be for seasoned agents to find people to do open houses. And I think a lot of it's mentality of like, I'm a go-getter, I'm going to go do this. And so I'll take everything. But I mean, you get to bump elbows with people that you probably wouldn't starting out.
And I feel like I'm a super outgoing person, but there's a lot of people that are not outgoing and they get super nervous about it. And they're like, I don't want to go do it. But once they go do it, they're like, oh, I'm capable of that. Like that was super easy. Like I know like a couple people who are pretty shy in the industry, and they're like, well, I don't like doing those like open house things because I have to like talk and tell them information. And it's not that they don't know it. They're super knowledgeable, but they just have a hard time like initiating conversation or knowing how to carry it. But you don't get good without practice, right?
And role play. Like we do that in the office all the time, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, role play!" We
love role play.
You know,
but it helps.
It helps, and I hated it as a new agent. Every time someone would be like, "Oh, let's role play," I would just be like, "Oh, like this sounds so terrible," but it literally helps.
If people say role play, like I'm totally in.
My brain always goes there, but no.
Just kidding.
But no, for real, you have to do it consistently, and to hear other people. And that's one thing I really love about it when we do stuff like that in our office is that it's like everybody has a different way of conveying information. And the more you hear different people do it, the more something will register with you on how to do it genuinely. You know,
we've had scenarios Danielle makes scenarios and we all pick things out of a jar and we're just like playing out how we would handle certain things. And our transaction coordinator, one thing about her is she's like super attentive, like to everything. Like there's not a thing that she doesn't notice.
Yes. And which is why she's our transaction coordinator.
Which is why she's our transaction coordinator.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember and this was, oh my gosh, months and months ago, but I remember afterwards there was one time where she was like, none of you guys handle everything the same, and somehow you all handle it perfectly. Because it's all, you don't remember that?
No. Did she
Becca,
just say
I
it to
hope you
you
heard that. They don't pay attention to you. But I do.
Such a nice thing to say.
So,
That
you
is
know.
so nice.
No, but she was like, none of you guys, okay, well, maybe I just
It just resonated with you.
it just resonated with me.
Yes.
But she made a comment where she was like, none of you guys handle anything the same, but you're also good at your jobs. And I'm like, that's kind of like a perfect way to say it, because
Yeah.
everyone has their match
Yes.
as, you know,
Yes.
I don't know.
It's so true.
Mhm.
But that's why like you find your niche, but you have to practice it to find
Yes.
it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
So, and I think that is like a lot. And so something I would say that we don't do as an office necessarily,
Mhm.
but the same thing of like practicing makes perfect would
Yeah.
be cold calling.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It gives me anxiety.
Well, I think it's because there's so many wrong ways it's done.
Yes.
Like really, if you think
Yes.
about it, if we get a lot of cold calls as realtors because everyone's
Mhm.
approaching you trying to get your business for
Yep.
whatever reason.
Even as a homeowner, I get cold calls.
Yes.
I have cash. Can I buy your house? No.
Oh, and
Buy my
it's
house.
obnoxious. A lot of the ways it's done is obnoxious. A lot
Yeah.
of times you're trying to get off the phone and you're
Uh-huh.
like, and they just won't let you, and you're like, I'm just gonna have to hang up on you, which feels terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But there are good ways to do
There
it.
are.
Our media company that we use,
Yes.
shout out to them because they're amazing.
Yeah, but they were a cold call.
They were
They
a
were,
cold
but
call.
they did it
But they did it
right.
well.
They did it right.
Yes.
And I never answer phone calls like that I can tell are like maybe not our area and stuff like that. And they did amazing. And it was so like they were so professional and so kind and so genuine, and they were so upfront with it. So I think like cold calling can work.
Mhm.
It's not our jam, but if you're gonna do it, practice.
Yes.
Find good tips and do it well. You know,
Yeah.
don't create a negative in our industry. I think that's really, really huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's people that know how to do it and are good
Mhm.
at it. It's just
Yep.
not our avenue.
It's not our avenue. But it's a great way to build your pipeline if you're good at it.
Yes.
It kind of reminds me of door knocking.
door knocking.
Door knocking.
You're about to
Yeah.
try your hand at door knocking. Gotta move this pillow.
I
okay.
so
So much better.
I like, you know, when you say things out loud that you think aren't going to come to fruition, and then it comes to fruition, you're
Yeah.
like, well, I said
Yeah.
it, let's do it.
Mhm.
So I think I was talking with you about cold calling. We were like, yeah, not our thing. And I was like, door knocking, because I know a few people that have gone door knocking, and I can't remember who I was talking to you. I think I was talking to you. I don't know. I was talking to someone about it, and I was like, yeah, door knocking is not really my thing. If I had the opportunity and it was like someone I felt like doing it with, like maybe I'd do it. The next day, there's a lender that I adore, and he goes, yeah, so I think I want to come like door knock in your area. Like, do you want to do it with me? And I was just like, I said to him out loud, I was like, I'm eating my freaking words right now, because I said if I was given the opportunity, I would do it. And a day later,
Yep.
you're like, hey, want a door knock?
Be careful what you speak into existence.
Yeah. So we're going to do it. He's super personable. We have a great time together. We banter back and forth so easily. So I feel like if there's anyone that I would door knock with, I'm happy it's him.
Yes.
And we'll see how it goes. Even if
Mhm.
I, can't necessarily get a sale, maybe he can get a refi. We'll just kind of see how it goes. It's all about working with each other and building the other person up. And
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to say that in my head so I feel comfy doing it, because I'm still not ready.
But you're gonna have to let us know how it goes.
Yes.
We all need a report back.
Yes.
Because
I'll
tell us
report
everything.
back.
Yeah.
I will report back.
Tell us everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to say on the whole door knocking thing, this is not exactly door knocking, but my girls are in Girl Scouts. So we went
I literally, when I was thinking about door knocking, I was like, if you're not a freaking Girl Scout, do not knock on my door.
Yep.
so we went selling Girl Scout cookies today, and I was like that, and also we do a block party for our block. Cassie and I put it on every year except during COVID.
The cool
Yes.
neighbors.
And
The cool neighbors.
we are. So we were like, okay, going door to door, and we gave them went to sell cookies, and then we gave them the thing for the block party. And she's like, well, I don't know if we're gonna be here. And I was like, oh, and she's like, yeah, we listed our house. And I was like, oh, really? Like, I didn't see it pop up today because I got all the listings for our neighborhood. And she's like, oh, well, we're on Zillow. So I said, oh, did you go for a sale by owner? And she's
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. So I pulled it up. I said, you know what? I have people who are looking who want to live in our neighborhood. And it was just so funny and ironic because I here we are selling
Yeah.
Girl Scout cookies and giving block party invites.
And door knocking and not even knowing it.
The world's meat. And now my clients want to see it, and we're going to go look at it tomorrow.
That's so exciting.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
you know, you just never know how you're going to kind of come upon it, not necessarily actively door knocking.
Totally.
But apparently it does work.
Apparently,
Sometimes you're
actively.
just-
See, I'm gonna bring your child with me.
Bring them.
Oh my
We need to sell
gosh.
Girl Scout cookies. Do
Yes.
it, please. I have a garage full of Girl Scout cookies.
People are
I
going
need
to be
to
more
go.
likely to listen to you if you have cookies for them to buy.
That's true.
I'm like, listen,
That's true. They're only $5 a pop.
They're so cheap.
It's gonna be fine.
Unless
they
they're
were
gluten-free.
$3 when I sold them.
Me too, but that's not bad
Inflation's
for
a
inflation.
bitch.
But it's only $2.
So much worse.
Gas is like
my
5 times the
gosh.
price it was.
Yeah, but cookies are worth it.
They are.
worth it.
Yeah.
They're worth it.
Dude, Thin Mints are my crack.
They're so good.
Yeah, and they're so good. They're
I
so
just
good.
started liking Samoas like 2 years ago. My palate matured, and I was like, coconut's fine. But until then, it was Thin Mint.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Samoas are right now my favorite as well.
I opened some tagalongs that you left at the office.
You open everything.
Our transaction coordinator, her daughter's on the same Girl Scout troop or whatever. And there's a new cookie, if you guys didn't know. Danielle almost got to try it. So here's the thing. I went in her office and I was like, that's a Girl Scout cookie, I don't know. And I opened the box and there's one left.
Oh.
And I was like, it'd be unfortunate if someone else ate that. And then I was like, well, I'm never going to know what it tastes like if I don't eat it right now. I'm like, how mad can they be at me? So I ate it. I took a bite. I was only planning on
Were you
eating.
planning on putting it back with one bite out of it?
I did a COVID test like 2 days before. Allegedly. So I took a bite and I was like, that's pretty good. So I ate the other half. But the best part is 2 days later, I admitted it to Danielle and she was like, Becca made her husband apologize to me because she thought that she brought an empty box because he ate the rest. I was like, no, dude, that was me. I snuck in your office. I ate your cookies. And I am not apologizing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyways, back on topic.
Back on topic. Let's talk about personal sphere.
Yes.
Personal sphere is a huge one. I feel like
Be careful who you let in your office.
she's not wrong. No. I feel like personal sphere is a really great one in a lot of different ways. I think, especially referral wise, it can be huge with your personal sphere. And so I think without being that car salesman that's like, hey, I'm a realtor, let me sell your house, just like letting it be a part of your life and, making it known. I think that you can tell people what you do in a normal conversation and then they know what you do. And one thing that you can do that's maybe kind of obnoxious, but I've done because I can be kind of obnoxious.
But it's worked for you.
It has. I give my family business cards to give to their friends when someone brings up real estate so that they can say, oh, you need a realtor. I know someone amazing. I have their card right here. And it's really maybe kind of obnoxious. So that's like a step out of personal sphere. But I think just, like being real about it, using social media, we'll talk about that more, to put out there that you're in real estate and without being salesy or trying to always get a sale, just being honest about what you do. And I think on the same token as referrals, making sure you thank your referrals. And that's even people who tag you on Facebook. How many times is there a Facebook post that someone says, I'm looking for a realtor? And every time someone tags your name, they're telling people this is a great realtor and they're filling your pipeline for you. And if you nurture those people and say, thank you so much, or if like it turns into a closed deal, send them a gift basket and say, thank you so much for referring me. I just closed a deal because of you and I'm so thankful. And, we do little pop-ups pop buys where we give gifts to our past clients, and I will always give them to people who regularly tag me as well and just say, thank you so much for trusting me as a person and me as a realtor and always throwing my name out there.
And it's so true. I think that people don't focus enough on thanking the people that constantly promote their names. And that's how we build our business. Really, if you think about it, first of all, your family better refer you.
Oh, my
Otherwise,
gosh.
you threaten them because I absolutely, my family knows better than to cross me.
Choose me or lose me.
Yep.
Choose me
Yep.
or lose me.
Yep.
They know
I'm just
better.
kidding.
They know better. But also it's like turning your family and your friends and past clients into your personal representatives. Like if you do a good job or you have a good enough relationship with your family and they appreciate, or family and friends, and they appreciate how well you do in your business, they will refer you because they care about you, because they know you're going to do well, and because you're not going to disappoint whoever they refer you out to.
Yes.
And there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, obviously, it's doing your job well. It's being knowledgeable in the industry. There's a lot that goes into it. But if you create that, I mean, our office, I would say, is 80% referral. I mean, we do lead gen, which we'll probably talk about next. But we have a lot of referral basis, and that's the business you want, because as soon as someone from your personal sphere is invested in having you as a realtor, you don't have to sell yourself.
No.
The other person has sold you for yourself. And so you're already in, and then you just get to do a good job. You don't have to work on all the preliminary stuff to sell yourself.
Yes.
I will say about like past clients and having them, you know, leave a review or be like, will you tell your friends and family about me? There's something to be said about people who focus on the price point and not the fact that it's a deal, you know, because there's so many deals that I've taken where they're not the highest number necessarily, but I've gotten, you know, referrals from them because I worked with them. And it's, I mean, in the beginning of your business, I think I can speak for, you know, you too, since I've been like just like a little bit behind you, but kind of like following your lead in a way. Like you've taken deals no matter what, and I've taken deals no matter what. And it's not about the price on the deal. It's about the number of deals you have in your first couple of years, and everything else follows, because it's about building a community of people that trust you.
Yep. That's literally filling your pipeline. Like you're filling your pipeline.
People get so focused on like, but what am I going to make off this? Is it worth it? What am I going to make off this? Is it worth it? Okay, but cool. You could have a $20,000 land deal, and who knows what they're going to use you for in the future. And also who knows who their friends are that they're going to promote you to because you did so good for them. Like that's one thing that has helped me a bunch, at least. And I've gotten business from, is just doing good for people no matter what. And then you unexpectedly get a little something on the charge, you know?
And not focusing on the money. And that's always been my philosophy, is you don't focus on what you're going to make. I don't even really look at it. I mean, I do differently as a,
it's a career. It's a career.
It's a
So
career.
at the end of the day, it's about that. But at the
but
same
if
time,
you
it's
don't
not.
focus on it until you actually get paid, you act differently.
And it's about helping a person get their dream home, and not about like it's benefiting them, not benefiting you.
I have a weird thing, and I don't know what you guys are like, but I don't calculate my commission until I'm in the deal and it's almost closed. Because working as a barista and as a bartender, I don't know. I mean, people say things to me and I just take them as fact. So this is one of those things where people have said it to me and it's like, it's just fact. Someone told me at the beginning of my barista career, she was like, I started like counting my cash tips because I've been treated out. And she goes, oh, no. You don't count your tips until you're done. And I was like, why? I'm going to trade it out. And she goes, because then you're tracking what you're doing and you're so focused on what you're making that you're not just like doing your thing. She goes, you don't count your tips till the very end, and what you make is what you make. The second you start counting your tips, you're going to make less. And I didn't understand it because I was like, what, like 16? I was like, okay, but it was fact to me ever since then, because she told me. So I was like, it's a fact. So I just never counted my tips until the end. And I do that with real estate too. I just, it's not a deal till it's done. And I don't think about what's being in my bank account until we're almost to the end.
Yeah, that's exactly how I've always treated it. Because you never know, and deals fall apart, and you can, if you get so focused on what you're making and a deal falls apart, it is devastating. If you're not focused on it, money. Yes, and if you're not focused on it and it falls apart, then you just move on, or you're like, okay, that one fell apart. Let's find another place for you. As soon as you focus on the number your mentality changes.
It does.
And
Yeah.
to like a detriment.
Yeah, and I just to prove the juju, I don't do that, but there was a deal around Christmas where I was hoping it would close, and it was a bigger deal, because you know you like want to buy your family like awesome gifts. You're like, what am I gonna have to work with? And then I would realize what I was gonna make off of it, and I hyper focused on it, and I feel like, you know, not to say that it changed how I dealt with the deal, but it changed my energy towards it, if that makes sense. And it didn't happen to work out. And it wasn't because of anything I did or that person did. It just didn't happen to work. And so when you hype up what you're making off a certain deal and it falls through, it almost feels like a bigger failure, even though it just happens. Like it's in everyone's career. It just happens sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the other flip side of the relational selling, the personal sphere, we hit transactional selling, which can become relationship selling, but is lead gen.
Yes.
And I think that, again, this goes into focusing on the lead and what they need and what they want, as opposed to focusing on the end goal, because lead gen takes a lot more energy and effort than personal sphere. I feel like everyone in our office does a great job of conversion and conversion rates, and it takes a lot of practice, but
Does take practice.
It does take
a lot of practice.
I've learned some lessons.
But if you're focused on every lead and expecting that lead to close, you're focused on the wrong thing, because that's not the way it works.
You're gonna be
And if you're
disappointed
expecting on every lead to close, everyone feels like a failure when it's just naturally, some of them just aren't going to work. And so they shouldn't feel like a failure. It's just part of the job, and not everything's going to work out.
Yeah, so true.
That was a hard one for me.
Yeah. And the cost, something to think about, like if you're new in the business or you've been in for a while and you haven't bought leads, it changes all the time. But we do a couple different things. One, we have one where we pay a percentage, it's pretty hefty percentage, it's 35% of a deal to this company. But they have a lot more invested because they only get paid when we close a deal.
Can we say their name?
Yeah, go for it.
Opsity.
Yeah.
Opsity. That half of my deals that I have had have come from Opsity, and they do take a hefty chunk.
Yeah.
But you also have to think about the fact that all those people are going to spread your name after that. So you have that deal and they take a hefty chunk, but A, you're still getting paid, right? That's a deal you didn't have before. B, they love you, they're leaving a great review, and they're going to spread your name.
Yeah, because they come into your personal sphere.
Yes.
And then you use that to generate more.
Especially as a new agent. I think lead generation, that for me was huge in really getting myself going and getting started, because you do get personal referrals, but it's kind of slow at first because you're new. And
I don't know what I
green.
would have done without it.
Yeah. My year last year, it was like 50-50. 50% lead generated and 50% personal sphere.
Especially when you're first starting, it's amazing. I mean, for me, because I'm almost 2 years in, and without lead gen systems, I don't know that I would still be in the industry, because I don't know if I could support myself without them.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to like get your footing, get your bearings. It's also great when you have a managing broker that is your sugar mama and pays for all of your marketing and Opsity. So I understand that not everyone can have that, but shout out Danielle.
Honestly, it's just because I kind of get what works at this point, it's like, I understand how hard it was for me, and
well,
so
the longer we do it, the more personal business we bring in,
and
the
that's
less
the whole
we're
goal.
relying on the lead generators.
And that's the whole goal. Yeah. And then the other lead gen you can do is you can pay like per zip code or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like we do realtor.com. I've done other ones in the past that I didn't necessarily love. But you pay per zip code. So, they're not set on you having to close a certain amount of deal. Right. They don't get paid when you close a deal. So maybe they have a little bit less invested. We get a lot more leads.
You have to screen them.
We have to screen them. But also, we work so hard at building that conversion rate. And so I think they are still solid leads. It's just something to think about when you're looking at buying leads. What kind you want? Do you want the kind where they're invested in so they only get paid when you close? Or do you want to buy, more leads, but maybe they're not as solid?
Right. Yeah. One thing I will say if you're going to use realtor.com or anything along those lines where you're kind of just getting sent anyone who's inquiring in a certain property, one thing that I've learned for myself is I didn't always ask if they had a realtor first. I just asked about the property, if they wanted to see it. And it was almost like probably 50% chance that they already had a realtor. And then they would get back to me and say, oh, hey, our realtor said that it's not cool to work with another realtor. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Didn't mean to step on any toes. So I've learned to vet people pretty quickly. And one of the first things I ask is like, okay, I see you're interested in this property. Can I ask you if you're already working with a realtor? Yes, no. And then if they're not working with a realtor, I say, okay, can I ask you if you have any financing? Like, are you already working with a lender? Do you have cash? Do you know what you need to do in order to get this property? Like, trying to gauge where they're at in their process. And then you realize if they're a hot lead, if you need to connect them with someone, no matter what, if they don't have a realtor at that point, there's a way to get them in your pipeline. You just need to realize what stage you're at.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have known that first, because I don't ask for help. So I just had to figure it out on my own. And that's how I did it.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of realtors, like myself included, when I first started, it's like, I didn't want to ask, do you have a realtor? Because if I ask if they have a realtor and they say yes, then they're automatically out, you know?
But
and it was almost like, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But it was like one of those things, like you kind of have to like figure out on your own kind of like, no, I need to ask this right away. You know, it's better to have an answer and have the answer you don't even want to hear than to have no answer at all and waste your time.
Nerves go away eventually.
They do. Yeah, they do. Yep.
Eventually you have no feelings at
all.
That's what realtors are.
I'm just kidding.
Speaking of nerves, let's talk social media, because I know when I first started, I was really anxious about putting it out on social media that I'm a realtor. Reels are huge right now. And so doing TikToks and Reels is a great way to get business. Allie can share about that because she's amazing. But I cannot tell you how many times because I try about once a month to post on my personal page that I'm a realtor in some way. Whether it's I just celebrated 2 years as a realtor. Did you know I service these areas? Or just close this deal. Are you looking to buy or sell? This is what I do. And I don't know how many times I've had people then reach out and say, oh my gosh, I need to sell my house. Can you help? Or I had no idea you were a realtor or that you worked in this area. Can you help me? And it's crazy. And one thing that I heard once from a marketing person was, you're not talking to a standing crowd. You're talking to like a parade or a moving army. Like, people are always, social media is crazy where sometimes we see things, sometimes we don't. It's information overload. You never know what day it's going to hit someone just right. Someone that's on the cusp, someone that's thinking about being a first-time home buyer. I had one, they saw my post. They didn't know I covered their area. They were only thinking about buying a home. They weren't really sure. We met up and did our initial first-time home buyer meeting where we talked through the process, and we had them signed around in like 2 weeks. It was like the second house they looked at.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just falls into place. And so I think we can't stress enough. Most people are on social media, and staying in front of people is everything.
And if you don't let them know, they don't know.
No.
And so how are they going to use you or utilize your services or anything like that? They can't. So it's very important.
Yeah, it's so important.
Yeah. I'm not a big social media person, and I try to get better at it. Yeah. And I just assume everyone knows, you know, but sometimes I'm shocked.
Yeah. One thing that I did with social media and with like personal sphere, because we have a newsletter, so you'll have to share about that.
Yes, I will. Absolutely.
Is I made myself a little script that was basically like, hey, we're starting a newsletter as an office. We're really excited about it. Would you be interested in getting it? It's information about our area. I think you'd really like it. And that filled my funnel too, because it's getting people's information. They're getting a newsletter from you regularly and seeing your face. It's another touch that you're getting, or you're in front of someone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really good segue into newsletters and mailings, because
mailings. Okay, you guys start talking about that. I'm going to go grab my postage stamps. I want to show them what $200 worth of stamps looks like.
Okay.
I will be right back.
So we do a lot of different mailings, you know, and we really try to customize them. So we have like mailings for listings that are very specific. We have mailings for buyers who have missed out on homes. But we do have a newsletter, and our newsletter goes to past clients. It goes to people in specific communities, and it's huge because it's our one touch once a month that people remember who we are, and we're in front of them. But I would say if you're going to do any sort of mailing, you got to be consistent with it. And you have to do it regularly. So don't mail out to like 700 people once. Mail out to 100 people 7 times. I think the average touch you need to have is like 18 mailings. But if you do it well and you have to track it, then you can see really good results from that. But you have to track it and you have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So show us what stamps cost, Allie.
Stamps. Okay, so let me tell you who I'm sending my mailers out to. This is the first time I've ever done it on just like a personal, just my own spectrum. Also, how we talked about utilizing people earlier, your lenders and your title company. Your title companies are there to freaking help you. So one that I love to use, they walked me through all the different ways you can farm. And what I decided to do is we personally live in a town where there's a lot of rentals. We have a huge, community here, but it's also, we have a university in our town too. So there's a ton of rentals. And so I picked, a certain scope where I knew there was a lot. And what we did was we pulled addresses and we made sure that they were not owner occupied. And then we pulled the owner's addresses. And so we pulled about like 180. So I'm talking about in my letter, how to cash in on your investment. Now's a great time. And I thought for some reason, which
Allie,
shut up. What?
there's only 20. I need to call. No, I need to call. They charged us for way more. This is not accurate.
Well, let me tell you what I did anyways. So anyways, I have like 180 letters, and then I was ready to, put like my postage stamps on them. I don't know. Maybe because I just grew up in the email era, I never knew how much postage stamps were. Yes. Well, I don't know. Anyways, so, and I don't have like a family or children yet, so it's not like I'm sending out Christmas cards. So I thought postage stamps were like 2 cents. I don't know why. I don't know if they were ever 2 cents, but
probably in 1940.
In my mind, postage stamps were 2 cents. I'm like, why doesn't everyone just like send out letters all the time? This is so cheap. They're like 58 cents.
Yeah. 50. Yeah.
Is it 48?
I think it's 50. Isn't it 50
It was
cents?
$219 for 200, but they only gave us 4 packs of 20.
So
I'm gonna have to reach
I gave
out.
Cassie, Costco, if you're listening to this, she didn't buy them for me.
No.
I gave Cassie $220 for
It's not my fault. I didn't even shop.
for like 400.
Yes.
And I was about to be like, I
I
walked
thought
away
it was
because I was
small.
like, this is
You
what
know-
$400 or
You know that you can
$200
also
in
go
stamps
to
looks
like a bank,
But
and
you know
get
what?
Stamps.
You go to a
I
bank and get
don't think
stamps?
they
Yeah.
charged me
A
for-
bank
Or Safeway.
There's
like,
no way they
I mean,
charged
any-
me
A
right
credit
now.
union? Can you go to a credit union?
Chini.
They just sell them?
I
Yeah.
just see.
Why do they
didn't
sell
charge
them?
me for 400,
Because
and they sent us
It's a service.
60 of them.
Oh, let me
80.
guess.
They
They
say you
also
80.
they also give you checkbooks because people use checkbooks nowadays.
Do you
I'm not
use
paying
checkbook?
bills. What is happening?
I'm teasing.
Who are you?
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I
Mhm.
actually did my taxes this morning with a guy here in Cheney who we all use,
He's great.
and I was like, yeah. Apparently, everyone writes checks, but I've never owned a checkbook. Well, because I'm like, I either if I pay rent, people have always had Venmo, or I just pull out cash, or if push comes to shove and I need some sort of check, I get a money order.
I don't
It's just,
know.
everything I pay is online, my utilities, my car payment, like anything I've never needed a checkbook for.
This is the age gap.
Yeah.
This is the age gap.
Well, now we know
They
it's 80.
Oh, I know. I'm looking for my receipt right now because they misrepresented how much they
Costco,
sent.
you misrepresented.
Well,
I'm
anyways,
very
um, Anyways, however much you end up mailing, it does cost to mail. So make sure it's worth your money.
It does. Don't just throw your money.
Don't throw your money.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with who I am sending mail out to, there are people where they're not super invested in their home because they're not living in it. And it is an investment.
Mm-hmm.
The people that I'm sending them to, it is an investment. So I'm going to send them 2 pieces of mail and we'll see what I get from it. But I feel like anything past that, like their decision's made. They're doing business. They know what they want to do.
Well, it's different. It depends if you're trying to be top of mind or if you have a specific message. You know, like when we do the listing letters, we do 2 or 3, you know, because we have a very specific message. We're listing to this home in your neighborhood. We want you to be aware of it. Here it's pending. This is what happened. And now it's closed. And here's the price. So we have very specific messages. And when we're doing our newsletter, it's like hey, keep us in mind. Somebody might not sell for another 2 or 3 years. So we have to be in front of them consistently.
That's like, so the listing that I just closed on a couple of days ago, I should probably send out postcards saying, hey, just sold. Yeah. Do you have advice on like how many I should send or like the radius or like, is it kind of just case by case?
I kind of do case by case. I think it just kind of depends once you pull information on like, you know, how many are rentals in the area? How many are homeowner occupied? How long have they owned the homes? That kind of stuff. Once you get those numbers, you can really start to hone in on what kind of marketing piece you want to put out.
Yeah.
So
I feel like one last comment for me on utilizing your resources is title companies. Every single title company has one or more marketing person, and they are literally there to help you get more business. There's you know, a gal that I love working with. She is just super awesome. She comes and meets with me once a month and says, what are you doing like to build your business? And if I'm like, you know, just things, she's like, calls me on my bullshit and goes, okay, this is what we're going to do, or this is what you can do. So it's really nice to make those connections with someone outside of your business, but still connected in a way where they want to see you succeed because they also succeed. It's like a, you know.
Yeah. No, it's very helpful. Got to utilize your resources 100%. So, do any other?
I think the only one we missed is CRMs. Did we talk about CRMs?
We haven't gone to CRMs yet. I wasn't sure. Yeah. So once you have your pipeline built, what do you do with them? You put them in.
What's a CRM?
What is a CRM?
Come on, Cass. I thought you memorized it first.
Nope.
Let's come up with it.
It's customer relationship management.
Thank you. Yes.
Welcome. And
I was like cheese and Ritz crackers and munchies.
That's how we know this has been going on. So a CRM, there are so many different ones out there. There are some that are really inexpensive. We use Follow Up Boss, which we love.
I love it.
So great.
It connects with all our systems really, really well. But there's a lot of great systems out there. We've gone through quite a few. Some worked okay, you know, but we've really settled on Follow Up Boss and we like it a lot. But it's huge for, I feel like, our lead gen system, where we get a lot of cold leads and they're great to put in there and have emails to go out and drip campaigns and follow up with them.
That's what I love is the drip campaign option.
Yes.
And you can like take what other people have written and remake it as your own. And you can see if people, I'm just creepy. I just like, you can see if people have opened it.
Yes.
Which I love.
Yes. Well, and ours also finds them on like social media and stuff, which is helpful too.
Yeah.
Which I like. But then, you know, you can also customize them to make sure that they're fitting like your personality, and especially if you set up like past clients on it, you know, so it's not coming like through a robot.
Totally.
Per se. But then you have your warm and hot leads, right? That you're working with all the time, or contracts that are pending. So what do you guys do for that?
So for my cold leads, I have them all in Follow Up Boss. I keep track of them. I make sure they're on drip campaigns, because I've had clients that disappear for 6-9 months. And then suddenly, because they're on a drip, are like, I'm ready to buy. My warm leads, I keep in a notebook that I try and keep, you know, around of like, okay, they're not ready yet, but they will be. And then my hot leads.
The infamous Cassie whiteboard.
I have a whiteboard in my bedroom that has a calendar on it where I write my important dates, and the people that I'm actively working with, they're looking right now, we're working together right now, are on that whiteboard so that I see their names every day. They're front of mind. And then, I'm more likely to be checking in with them. They're in my brain. So if I see a property come up that's something they're looking for, I can reach out to them and say, hey, I saw this property come on today and I've been thinking about you. Like, it just keeps them front of mind so that they stay hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a client, which I know I've talked about it multiple times with you guys, but he was reaching out. He lived in California, was selling his place, looking at this property up here in Spokane, and he mentioned to me, "I'd like to know this and this, but I want to let you know you're not my realtor." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine. Get him the info." There's a certain, like, if it was like a 100K thing and they did that, it's fine. But when it's a higher price point, you're like, I'm fine wasting my time. So it was one of those moments where I'm like, I'll get you whatever information you want to have. And yeah. And so I was like, I understand that I am not your realtor, but here's information. And I hope if you do choose to move forward, that you choose to utilize me. So he replied, he wanted a little bit more info and repeated to me, I just want to let you know you're still not my realtor. And I was like, that's fine. It's cool. Here's your info. And I thought it was gone forever. But to be honest, in that moment, it was really good practice for me to look up the kind of stuff that he needed because I had never been asked those questions before. So regardless if he was going to use me, regardless if he was going to get that property, I was learning as I was going. So it was super cool to have to, look up those new things that he was asking me. And 3 months, 4 months down the road, never heard from him, never thought I was going to. And he goes, hey, I'm heading up to the area, sold my house. Do you have any more info? And I'm like, I might. So we'll see where that goes. But it just goes to show that sometimes you feel like you're putting so much energy in and not getting anything out. But there's also going to be those times where you put the energy in and they pop back up. So, there are things where you can kind of gauge if they're a waste of time. And there's other things where it's like, if it's going to take 10 minutes, why not?
Mm-hmm.
How much?
Yeah.
I mean, I just binge watched Bridgerton for 6 hours. Like, what's 20 minutes?
Yeah. And you really don't know. You never really know where it's going to go until you take the shot.
Yeah.
And I think it's really easy to instantly say, oh, that's a waste of my time. And it's most of the time it's not, because even if, and this is something I've realized in my career, is even if that person doesn't buy, does not mean they will not refer you to someone else. I have had so many people who I've chatted with and worked with and whatnot, and they ended up not buying for one reason or another, but they have referred other people to me because I helped them.
I'm sure this will come up in a different podcast because, we have our plans, but will you kind of just touch on the deal where it took you like a year, but you got so much business from it?
Yeah, I will. And we will. We'll go into this in another podcast. But I had my, to this day, I think the smallest deal I've ever had. It was $60,000. It was a short sale. For those of you not super familiar with short sales, they were exhausting. I'm sure we're going to get more. We have some now, but
short does not mean length of time.
What is a short sale?
Short sale is where you...
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to be that person. I don't know what a short sale is.
A short sale is where you owe the bank more than you can sell the home for. So the bank's taking a hit for you to get, like, you don't have the cash to get out of it. So you're short.
One of those things you learn when you're taking your classes, but until you have to deal with it, it's just, you forget about it.
We haven't really dealt with them for the most part since the recession.
Okay.
So, but I did it. It was some friends, and I took their listing. It was $60,000. Got it under contract multiple times, fell apart multiple times. It took almost a year to get it closed because the process of a short sale is very, very long.
Yeah.
Got it done. $60,000. Great. Sold their first home for them. It worked out well. And from that, I think I did close to $2.5 million in sales because they used me to buy their next home. They used me to sell their next home. They used me to buy another home and sell another home. They referred me to multiple friends and family. Like that one sale that was kind of the bane of my existence at that point because I wanted to do a good job and I was just so like
tired
and it was so frustrating. I felt so bad for them and it just multiplied exponentially. And they still are some of my biggest referral clients.
Yeah.
And that was 11 years ago at this point. So yeah, you just never know. You never know. You just gotta do the work and just trust the process and know that it's all going to come to fruition.
I hate myself for saying this because you guys made fun of me the other day, but my grandpa always said, "Don't get too big for your britches."
It's true.
It's true. Just stick
It's
with
true.
it. Just stick with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's it.
I think we
we
got it
covered
all.
all of them.
Good job.
Go team.
Go
Go
team.
team.
Is this our 3rd episode now?
Yeah,
It's number 3.
Gosh, I feel like we're getting better. I feel like we're getting used to it.
we are.
Yeah,
we are.
I don't know how
We
you
are.
guys feel.
But we are excited for your feedback, and we'll keep you
Yes.
posted on the different things that we mentioned here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking forward to joining you next time. And next time is all about
Yeah, next time we're talking about why it's great to travel, especially when you're starting out, and why no deal is too small.
yes. So
Yeah,
join us next time,
yeah.
and in the meantime, follow us on @Agents Unfiltered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we would love input, ideas. Like we said, we're about building community, so join us.
Yes.